What's up, Knicks fans? This is going to be your official guide to understanding the off seasons. We're going to unpack aprons. We're going to unpack exceptions. We're going to unpack cap holds, all of the complicated terminology. We're going to get to the bottom of where the Knicks are, what type of moves can they make. We're going to unlock all of the salary cap mysteries because for some reason, the NBA is like rocket science. I don't know why. It is what it is. But on this show, you're going to learn exactly why the Knicks can only do certain moves, why some moves make sense, why some moves don't make sense. And of course, later on in the show, I'm going to allow some of you guys to give me your trades, and we're going to put it to the test to see if it holds up. So stay tuned. Make sure you get your popcorn or get your notepads because this will be a very, very good informational show. Let's go. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am your host, Karan Pierre, the Objective Fan, straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest. And you guys know the vibes, man. Salute to all the members in this members-only live chat. This will be an action-packed show, y'all. So I'm going to get to it because I want to make sure that the video is not too long. Salute to Cram's dad in the building early, as always, telling me to get the show started. Okay? Leave me alone, Crim's dad. Let me make sure I got the chat up. Sometimes when I'm in members only mode, I have trouble seeing the chat. So members, feel free to ask questions. If you're not a member, make sure you hit that subscribe button, right? If you're not subscribed, right? And hit the like button so more cool people can see the content. Also, if you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel. But let me just make sure I'm in the building so I can see the chat. Okay, cool. Now, like I said, this is going to be a really detailed show. It's going to have a lot of information. So let's get to it. I'm not going to make you guys wait much longer. So let me jump into my slideshow, right? Let me start from the beginning. Make sure everything is good. Make sure you guys can still hear me. Okay, everything looks good on this end. Let's start from the beginning. Got a lot of windows open. Hold on. Let me go backwards. Okay, so we're going to start from the beginning, okay? So this is an off-season guide. This is your one-stop shop to learn exactly what's going on. By the way, I see you, JJP NYC. And to all the people who are listening, all the members, right? If there are a trade that you want to go over, you could list them. We will go over all the suggested trades a little bit later, okay? But I'm going to start this show from the beginning, okay? So this is what we're going to get into. Now, as of, we're going to talk about the salary cap for this offseason, right? We're going to talk about the use of the MLE so you can understand what that is, right? We're going to talk about minimum contracts. I don't know, my camera's blocking some of the other stuff. We're going to monitor trade extensions. We're going to talk about, player signing extensions contracts, right? And then also trades that we can make, okay? So the reason why I'm doing this show is because a lot of people don't understand what the salary cap is and restrictions and types of deals, because people are saying all types of stuff. Oh, there's trade bridges for KD, as if it's that simple. It's not, okay? For some reason, the NBA has made this rocket science. I don't know why. It shouldn't be that way. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back in the building, y'all. Sorry about that. had to put the fan on because it's kind of getting hot because the sun is coming out. So I didn't want to burn up. All right, cool. So we're back. We're back in the building. All right, cool. So a lot of people was just making suggestions and they didn't understand how this salary cap works. So that's why we're doing this show. And I'm gonna move through the slideshow. Okay, let's keep it going. So this is an overview of our current salary. Okay, as of now, the Knicks have a salary cap or approximate salary of $199.78 million. So us having that figure, it puts us well over the salary cap, approximately $45 million over the salary cap, $12 million over the luxury tax line, right? And you can see it there in the blue lines. Sorry hold on, let me see if I can slide. I'm gonna have to slide this camera around. Okay, pow. So now you can see the chart. So I'll just be moving the camera around. Okay, cool. So you can see the luxury tax line there, about 175, right? Then we got the aprons, first aprons, which we crossed the first apron. We'll talk more about that, okay? Right, so, and then of course, this yellow graph here is the Knicks payroll. So you can see where we are on this chart. We're near the top, okay? Definitely near the top, but that's the price of doing business in New York City. Let me move to the next slide, okay? Now, I'm going to explain what these thresholds are, okay? Now, a lot of people are concerned or they ask, oh, what about the salary cap? What about the salary cap? Right? Salary cap kind of is like not a thing for a lot of teams. Most teams are over the salary cap, right? Or a good amount of teams are over the salary cap. Hold on. Matter of fact, just to be on the safe side, let's go to the, let's go here to see. So approximately, so the salary cap's one. Yeah, most teams are over the salary cap. Damn near the whole league. You can see on the screen. Orlando Magic and the Detroit Pistons are the only two teams that are under the salary cap. Right? Under the salary cap. Hold on, I'm in the wrong season. My bad. Sorry. Let's fact check ourselves. So you have approximately, what's this, 7 teams? So 7 teams are under the salary cap. Utah, Charlotte, San Antonio, they're all under the 155. You see that? Brooklyn has the most money. This is why everyone's talking about Brooklyn making a big time splash. Okay? Because the Brooklyn Nets only have $68 million in salary they're committed to. The Memphis Grizzlies, we've seen them make moves, right? Even though they hard capped themselves at the first apron. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. I'm going to take it one step at a time. Okay, so the Memphis Grizzlies, they also have, they're under the cap. So they got some moves they said they're going to make. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Okay, and of course the Pistons. So all these teams can play and do a lot of things. They can use exceptions and all of that good stuff. Let me jump back into the presentation. Okay, now, so most teams are above the salary cap. That's why we don't really care about the salary cap like that. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter. Okay. Now, the luxury tax line, about half of the teams I would say in the NBA are above the salary cap line, right? And these thresholds, each of these lines, as I was putting it, are called thresholds. The salary cap threshold, the luxury tax threshold, then you got the first apron, second apron. And that's the basic thresholds for you guys to understand, right? Now, once you get over the luxury tax threshold and you cross the first apron, which the Knicks are, there are a lot of restrictions. Okay? I'm going to get to that in a second, okay? So just so you guys can understand where the Knicks are, all right? And no, we're not a second apron team, right? All right, let me move forward. So here is the active salary breakdown for the majority of the players. You know what I'll do? I'll go to, so you guys can see the entire screen. I'll go to sports track, so it'll be easier to see. All right, so let me go to the Knicks sports track. And when we get there, you'll be able to see this is the active roster, okay? You got Karl Anthony Towns. He makes the majority, the most money, $53 million, right? I don't think he has a trade kicker in his contract because even if he did, he would have used it already, so no trade kicker there. OG Anunoby, $39 million. He does have a trade kicker. I'm going to show you what that is. A trade kicker is basically initiated once a team makes a trade for this player. So as soon as we trade OG Anunoby, if we trade OG Anunoby, he will get a 15% trade bonus. So an additional $4.5 million on his salary that the incoming team must take, okay? That the incoming team must take. Let's go back. So now, Brunson, of course, you know, the greatest sacrifice. I'm going to talk more about Brunson a little bit in a second. Mikal Bridges, this is the last year of his deal. So he's due for an extension this offseason. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. We got to see. I strongly think that if Mikal does not sign the extension, he's up out of here. By the way, salute to all the channel members that just joined the show. This is the guide to the 2025 offseason, so guys can understand what the hell is happening, all right? Because a lot of people don't. Salute to you, Crimes Dad. I see you in the building. Stop telling me to start the show early, Crimes Dad. I'm just joking. And salute the Knicks will be champs. I'm still calling you 25, 26 Knicks will be champs because I'm so used to saying it that way. And salute to you, Yuri, and salute to Beeman Boys. Okay, let's go. 81 in NY. Definitely a members only chat. And guys, later on in the show, members, we will be doing trades. So I want you guys to get your trade targets out, and we're going to see if those trades are actually realistic, because a lot of times people want us to make deals, but those deals are not realistic. So let me get back to my PowerPoint. Okay, so those are some of the major salaries, right? And we'll talk more about the salaries in a second. Let me just keep it moving because it's a lot of information and I want to make sure I get it out, and I don't want to spend too much time, you know, explaining a lot of this complicated stuff. So now we're going to talk about the first apron threshold, because as we can see, hold on, let me go back. As we can see, right, the Knicks, this is their salary here. The Knicks payroll, $199 million, right? This is $1 million, so, right, okay. $199 million is above the first apron line. So that means that we meet the first apron restrictions, okay? So when over this threshold, the Knicks cannot execute sign-in trades. Let me spend some time there. Now, the Knicks can do sign-in trades. Multiple things happen. One, you can't sign a player over the $12 million extension, mid-level exception. So if a player earns more money, so let's say Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's a guy who I want to talk about because he's definitely a guy I would like to get on this team. If the Knicks were to execute a deal for him, he would have to sign for under that $12 million mid-level exception amount. The Knicks could do a sign and trade then, right? Now, once you do the sign and trade, the Knicks will be capped, hard capped at the second apron, meaning they cannot go over the second apron like they were last year. I explain more of that later. So you cannot execute sign and trades when the value is more than $12.5 million for the free agent. So if there's a player that we want, you could pick a free agent that you want that's on another team, and you know he's going to make way more money than what the Knicks can, you know, sign him for. So let's say now you want to do a sign and trade. You can do it. He would have to sign under the $12 million. So we understand that rule, okay? Now, more first apron rules. The Knicks cannot use the non-taxpayer MLE or biannual exception. Hold on, let me see if I could show you guys really quick what those. Hold on. Wait, what did happen to my? Hey, hold on. Sorry, y'all. What happened to my research mode? How'd it just disappear? Give me 2 seconds. Let me get my research mode back up there. Don't know what happened to it. Get it back up there, no problem. No sweat. By the way, if you just joined, this is the guide to the off season. Okay. Oh, I think I know what happened. I minimized the window. Now it should be back. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I can't minimize the window. No problem. So I'm going to show you guys an example of a mid-level exception. Let me go to a team. Let's duplicate this tab. I'm going to go to another team that has it. I want to show you guys visually what a mid-level exception is so you guys know what I'm talking about. The Knicks don't have it, so I'm going to come off of the Knicks. We're going to go to the Detroit Pistons, a team that I know for sure has it, all right? So when we go look at the Detroit Pistons, right, you'll notice, let's see, they don't say it? Okay. I guess it's early. Normally around like here somewhere, they will tell you this team has the mid-level exception. So I'm just going to explain off the top of the head. The mid-level exception is like I said, the $12.5 million. Usually you'll see it in here somewhere, but it's early, so they're not showing it, right? They are showing the cap holes. I'll explain it later. All right, and then the biannual exception, I can't remember the amount of the biannual exception. I can't remember it, but it might be a little over the $12 million, not 100% sure. So basically teams that's under the luxury tax line get access to this, or definitely underneath the first apron status. So us as a first apron team, we do not have access to that money. Sorry, they don't got it here. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I think I did a good job explaining it. Okay, but that's when it says here you cannot use a non-taxpayer or MLE. That's what they're talking about. Okay, that's what they're talking about. Face restrictions on waived players or signings. So like I said, anytime a player is waived from another team, right, you cannot sign that player if he makes more than $12 million. I can actually give you a real life example. Okay, let me give you a real life example. So let's say these are the top salaries, right? So let's say Kevin Durant. This is just better one. Let's say the Phoenix Suns get bold and they're like, listen, we tired of Bradley. They would never do this, but just follow me for example purposes. If the Phoenix Suns say, hey, we want to waive Bradley Beal, and I'll click on him so you can see him. All right, let's single him out. Make it bigger, put him on the screen so we can see exactly what he's working with. So let's say they say, Bradley Beal, we want to get rid of you. He's owed $53 million for this upcoming season, right? So what they could do, buy him out of his contract, waive him, right? But us as the Knicks, we see Bradley Beal, who's making this $53 million right here, right? And we say, hey, Bradley Beal, we want to get you on the Knicks. Come join our team. We cannot do it because he makes more than the $12 million that is the rule for the rule. So anybody who gets waived and they make more than $12 million, we cannot trade for those guys. Okay? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense so you guys can actually see in real time, right? Because we're using real practical examples as to why you cannot get these guys. Okay? Okay. And by the way, salute to Keith Watkins in the building. I see you, man. Greetings from the ATL. Let me see. Crimes Dad said I signed up for free agency. I think this is okay. This is a 301 course. I'm trying to keep it simple, Crims Dad. Okay. Listen, I read multiple articles in order to understand this apron stuff. It is very complicated for no reason. I don't understand why it has to be so hard. I'm trying my best to make it simple, right? So you guys can understand what's going on, because I'm tired of seeing people say trade for this guy when that guy is either impossible to do or it's just highly unlikely based on these restrictions. And some moves you just cannot do, right? And that's what I'm explaining this, okay? So that's the restrictions on waive players. If they make more than 12 million, you can't get them. Okay, now here's another thing that you got to consider. When you're above the first apron, so usually teams above the salary cap, they are allowed 125% wiggle room, meaning that you don't have to come within the 100%. You could come within 125%. Okay, so hold on. Let me see if I can give you guys an example. All right, at least I'm giving examples. So on the screen here, right, I got a little illustration here, right? So let's say we trading OG and Bridges, right? We're trading OG and Bridges. They make $69 million, right? If we were a team that wasn't the first apron team, let's say we were above the salary cap, we would have to come within 125% of the difference of this. So you guys ain't gonna be able to see my calculator, but I'm gonna pull up a calculator and I'll just share it out. So 125%, so 65 million, right? 125%. That would be times it by 1.2. So $78 million. So we would be able to do a deal if we trade these. Remember, we're not trading them. Relax. Okay. So we would be able, under regular circumstances, if we weren't an apron team, we could trade these guys in return for somebody who makes $78 million, right? Or you can go in the inverse, or someone who makes someone who makes $60 million. So it would be on the high end, $78 million. So let's say we get KD. This is a rough example. Let's say we get KD and Nick Richards and they make $70 million, right? Or they make $58 million or $60 million. We can do the deal because it's within the 125% of that $69 million. So hopefully this makes sense, right? So teams that are usually below the aprons, right, they can do a deal of this magnitude, right, with using the 125%. However, and let me go back to the PowerPoint. However, because we're a first apron team, that 125% goes down to 110. So now, as you can see, I'm at the last bullet point here, limited to 110. So now, let me go back to our sample trade. When we go back there, now we can only get within 110% of the 69 million. Okay. So 10% of 69 would be 6.9. So that's how but also another rule for aprons, you cannot send out more money than you take back. So if you're sending out 69 million, you can take back, the least you can take back would be approximately $63 million. Okay, that the trade has to be within that regard. And you cannot, as an apron team, this is a key rule, major rule, you cannot take back more salary than you send out. Let that register. All right, let's take a break. Let me salute to some people in the building. Hopefully you guys are understanding what I'm saying. It's very complicated, but it's understandable. It's understandable. Okay. First apron rules, cannot do signing trades unless it's $12 million. And remember that all you got to do for the first two bullet points there is $12 million. Cannot execute a signing trade if the player makes more than the mid-level exception, which is $12.7 million. Same thing. You cannot use the non-taxpayer, which is $12 million. Okay, just think about, guys, $12 million. You'll understand the first 2 points. Same thing on the restrictions on waive players. If a player makes more than the $12 million, you cannot sign them. So anybody who makes $12 million in your first apron team, it's very hard to sign them if you're trying to do a sign and trade, an exception, or you're trying to sign somebody who is waived. Okay, and then your ability to, trade different salaries gets diminished severely, because instead of the usual 125%, which is all teams that are below the first apron, right? Even if you're a team that's under the salary cap, it goes up to 175%, right? But usually those teams would create what's called an exception. I'm gonna get to the exception in a second, okay? But let's digest that. Let's digest that. Yo, Crim's dad, man, I could tell you was a class clown, brother. Make sure I hit everything. I think I did. I think I did a good job on the slide. Let's see. Trades. Okay, so another thing too about let me just add this to the non-taxpayer. So I'm not sure if I said this. I'm just going to say it again. So for the second one, the second X that you see there, Let me put my mouse over it. This X right here, the most you can sign a free agent to is 5.7 or 5.2, one of the two. I've seen both numbers, but roughly 5 point something million. That's what you can sign a player for. Okay? That's what you can sign a player for. Now, to bring it back to the Knicks for a second, I'm going to get to second apron in a second. To bring it back to the Knicks, so this is our payroll right here, $199 million. We are approximately $8 million underneath the second apron. So if we want to stay below that amount, we only have 11 players under contract on the active roster. Forget two ways, that don't count. You need to have 14 of those players. So that means if we want to stay under the second apron, if that's the goal. I don't know what Leon Rose is trying to do, but if you're trying to stay under there, then you would have to sign 3 players for the $8 million. Channel members, do you have any questions? You said that's a lot to process. What's a lot to process? The trade will work if we trade Mikal for JJJ. Yeah, I'm going to get to trades in a second. But you're right, Yuri. The JJ trade 100% could go through, right? And we're going to play around with different trade circumstances. I don't know what Memphis is trying to do. I heard rumors they're trying to move off of Ja Morant, but we're going to get the trade. I just need you guys to understand the aprons. Do you have any questions on the aprons? By the way, if you are listening to this show and you're not a channel member, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, right? I drop a lot of content, and this is just as a members only live chat because I'm laser focused. I want to make sure I get the content out, and I don't want to make this video too long, right? And if you are a subscriber already, consider joining the channel, not just to get access to this live chat, but it comes with more membership perks, and we'll talk about that later. Yuri says the apron, I know. You know by now. You sure? Yuri, you know the aprons by now? Because I don't want to see you putting up trades. My watch just died. I don't want to see you putting up trades in the Discord server that don't make sense. All right? So let me move forward. So I don't know what Leon Rose is trying to do, because right now we are not hard capped at the second apron. We could become a second apron team. If you re-sign Precious Achiuwa, bam, you're going to be a second apron team. Just like that, right? But I don't know what Leon Rose wants to do. Don't know. It's a mystery right now. Crazy. All right, cool. So let me move to the second apron. Now here's where it gets sticky. Hold on. Oh, no. Nope. Let me stay here. Because there's more things I want to talk about. I forgot. There's more things about this I want to talk about. So I want to talk about exceptions, because a lot of people don't know what exceptions are. Let me slow down. All right. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. It's hard because the NBA wants to be like rocket science. It's just basketball. I don't understand why things got to be so difficult. Anyway. All right. So a trade exception. Okay. Now, a trade exception is a tool that teams use, right, under the salary cap to acquire players without having to send out equal salary in return. Okay? That's when I talk about exceptions, trade exceptions, that's what I'm talking about. A great example of a trade exception, like I said, you can't be in the aprons. You got to be within the salary cap. A great example of that is when we traded Obi to Indiana. You guys remember that? Obi went to Indiana. He was making $8 million. They sent us back exceptions and 2 second-round picks. I don't think we ever used that exception money, but that's what an exception is. Trade exception. As an apron team, you cannot do that deal. Okay? Just so we can understand what an exception is. Now, these exceptions last 1 year, right? Now, also, if you are an apron team or you become an apron team and you have an exception, you automatically can't use it because apron teams cannot use exceptions, okay? Now, let's see what else I want to say with that. So that's what the exception is. I think we're good on the exception. I gave the example. Okay, just looking at my notes, making sure I get it out clearly. And of course, like I said, the Knicks, because they're over that first apron, they have what's access to the mid-level exception, which is the taxpayer. It's called the the taxpayer MLE. That's what it's called. So taxpayer means like once you're over the luxury tax, you're the maximum allocated, I think, is between 5.2 to 5.7, right? That's what you can sign a free agent for. So the Knicks can do that, right? So we could also, so here's what the Knicks could do, right? Let's say pick a free agent, Gary Trent Jr. This is an example. I'm not saying this is what he's worth. Let's say Gary Trent Jr. was worth the 5.7, right? He may be a minimum guy. I don't know. But let's say we sign Gary Trent Jr. for the 5.7. That eats up from the $8 million, right? So if you minus the $8 million, the 5.7 from the 8 million, you get about, what's that, 2.3. Now, that 2.3 would have to go to signing 2 more players because you need to sign. Oh, and by the way, also, you know what? Let me show you guys. Let's go back to the Knicks for a second. So PJ Tucker and Ariel Hukporti has what's called team options. So we actually could get more money, but you still would have to sign more players. So if we waived or we let Ariel go and we let PJ Tucker go, we actually could make that decision and to spend some time on extensions just briefly. PJ Tucker, we would have to make a decision on him by the 29th of this month. So expect to see a PJ Tucker decision early as well as Ariel. So we have until the 29th to decide whether or not we're going to pick up these. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So we have until the 29th to decide whether or not we will pick up Ariel and we will pick up PJ Tucker's contracts. Approximately, PJ is getting about 3.5. Right, so you could essentially let PJ go and then sign a cheaper, younger guy. That's another thing too. So you could have a little bit more wiggle room. You could do that. I don't see why they wouldn't bring Ariel back at his minimum, which is 1.9. That's what the cap hit would be, right? I think that they would be, not smart to let Ariel go. So Ariel, I expect to come back. PJ Tucker, I think he comes back too, but they don't have to bring PJ Tucker back. They could let him walk. And that will give them an additional $3.5 million. So now instead of the $8 million, you're looking at $11.5 million to sign 4 players. Now, they could also say, let's get Precious to let's say Precious wants to make, because he has what's called a cap hold, okay? And a cap hold is simply the amount. Hold on, I'm gonna give you guys a technical definition. So a cap hold is a placeholder salary that counts against the team's salary cap to account for the rights of a free agent, whether it's one of their own or a restricted free agent. This mechanism, here's the key to know about what a cap hold is. This mechanism exists to prevent teams from signing new players with cap space and then re-signing their own free agent. So perfect example of a cheat code, right? I'm going to show you the perfect example of a cheat code. So let's say we look at the Detroit Pistons, right? They got a lot of money, but I'm still going to use them, right? So when you look at the Detroit Pistons, if you don't add up their allocations, right, which is these cap holds, right? The cap holds is what's making this money go up to 192. When you look at their active roster, meaning the 12 players that's under contract, this 10 players equal this amount here. The active roster, 135. So the 192 you see up here, which accounts for all of these guys, active roster and cap holds, it's not a real number. I mean, it is a real number, but it's not a real number. All it is to prevent the Pistons from doing a cheat code, signing Julius Randle without signing these guys. Because all of these guys, right, are free agents. Now, what they can do is renounce their rights. meaning they'll lose their bird rights, and all bird rights mean you can go over your salary. If you're over the salary cap, you can do that to sign your own guys. Very simple, nothing complicated with bird rights. Very simple, right? So you would have to waive these guys, right? And then sign Randall. So that way you're not exploiting the salary cap. That's what cap holds are. Just so I could explain that. Okay? If you have questions, put it in the chat. All right? If you have questions, put it in the chat. I just want to make sure I explain all of this, because once I get to the second apron and once we get to moves that we can make, then we'll go forward. Now, another thing too I want to share, okay? And like I said, if you have questions, put it in the chat. Definitely, like Keith says, get the likes up. Yuri asked this comment that, are you talking about on Discord? I didn't get the chance to look at everything on the Discord yet because I've been moving, shaking, and popping today. But I'll get to the comment later, Yuri, in the Discord server. Yeah, so if you have questions, let me know. Let me let's go back to the PowerPoint. Now, another thing too I want to share before I move forward to the second apron. When you do the move that the Orlando Magic did, right? If you guys don't know, they traded for Desmond Bane, right? In trading for Desmond Bane, they use what's called aggregates, okay? Aggregates is when you trade multiple players for one. That's all an aggregate is. Don't want to make it more complicated. It's simple. Anytime you do any of these things as listed up here, so like let's say if the Knicks do a sign and trade, if the Knicks sign a player that was waived, if the Knicks make a trade using aggregates, those three things right there. There may be a couple of more scenarios, but just focus on those three things. We do a sign and trade, right? We sign a player that was waived, right? Making more than the minimum, right? No, we can't do that anyway. So just follow where I'm at. You do a sign and trade, right? You trade for you do a trade using aggregates, right? When you do those two things, it will hard cap you at the first apron, meaning you cannot go into the first apron. Why is that important? In the second apron, I'm sorry, you cannot go into the second apron. Why that is important? And let me show you why. I'm going to show you why. The reason why that is important is because it limits the other moves that you can do. So, perfect example, the Orlando Magic right here. You see the lock? That means that they cannot go into the second apron, not even to sign their own free agents that they have bird rights on. But let me show you what Orlando's strategy was. Okay? So follow me. Once you do those two things, you trade using aggregates, right? Or you do a sign and trade for a player, of course, that makes under that $12 million. You're going to be hard capped at the first apron. So look, the Orlando Magic already have 13 players, right? Now, they still have $16 million. You see this? They have $16 million in space, so they could sign any two of their free agents. I mean, they only got two, though. They only got Matt McClung, but they still have access to the 5.7, and then they could sign another player with the veteran minimum. So a team like Orlando, this is why this is important. They are competition to go sign a Gary Trent Jr., right? To sign a guard that is talented, but probably won't get more than the taxpayer mid-level exception, which is $5.7 million. The Orlando Magic can do that. And they still have another additional $12 million. I mean, if they wanted to sign, I know they're not going to do this, but if they wanted to sign, well, everybody's locked up. Because Mo Wagner, he got a team option, right? So $11 million, he's coming back. Caleb Houston, $2 million, he's coming back. So the Magic is already set. That's their main move. Now, they could make another trade, But if they make another trade using aggregates, they cannot go above the first apron. And you can't do it anyway because you got to match salary, like we said. So hopefully you guys are following. The Orlando, they did a 2-for-1. Desmond Bain for Pope and Cole Anthony. That automatically hard capped them at the second apron, meaning they cannot become a second apron team, which they probably don't want to become a second apron team. I mean, when you become a second apron team, it's a nightmare, okay? So that's why understanding this is important. So when we get into the trades, I'm going to test you guys to see if you guys know and understand what I shared. Hopefully you guys do. Okay, now I'm getting ready to jump into the second apron, okay? The world going on with my... Sorry, technical difficulties on my phone. It's bugging out. Anyway, okay, cool. So let's jump into the second apron. Now, when we get to the second apron, here are more restrictions. And this is what makes the second apron terrible. Okay? This is what makes it terrible. The second apron is where things get really tight. If the Knicks cross this line, they cannot aggregate salaries and trades, meaning that you can't do 2-for-1s. So let's say we want to trade Towns. Just example, I'm not saying we want to trade Towns, but we could not add another contract with Towns or another player in the deal. We could only do a 1-for-many. You can take back multiple players, right? Sort of like what we did to get Towns, because last year the Timberwolves were a second apron team, right? So you can't include cash either. So you can't add cash as a buffer like what we did with the Hornets last year. We gave them cash, right? Something you can do as a first apron team, right? Also, there's restrictions on trading first round picks. A 7-year draft pick freeze. I believe that's if you stay into apron for 2 or 3 or more years. You cannot trade your draft picks, making a trade for a second apron team a lot more difficult. This is why the Phoenix Suns are trying to trade Kevin Durant, because they need to get underneath the second apron. And I believe, I can show you really quickly, I believe Durant is making 53, 54. Hold on, just to be on the safe side, let's just pull it up. That's why we stay in research mode. I think Kevin Durant, let's go back. I think he's making $53 million. So they're trying to, in their best world, this is why the Suns don't want Towns, because the Suns, I think they're shifting to go into rebuild mode, right? Don't know it 100%, but if they were to trade for Towns, that Towns trade does not help them, because Towns will keep him in the second apron. And I don't think they want to stay there, right? I think Towns is what, number 11? He's tied for 11th most salary on the list. So even in the deal, here's another thing too. In the deal, the Knicks would also have to trade another salary to get a third team, because you cannot take back more salary than you send out. That's a hard apron rule, right? It goes for both teams. So yeah, you would even have to add salary to our side to make that Suns deal go down. So all you people that was saying, oh yeah, we can trade for Durant and trade Towns and Deuce or trade Towns. No, the deal couldn't work that way unless you get a third team. Right? I'm gonna give you some examples of deals, okay? Also, the reason why the league is doing this, they want to prevent super teams that overspend, like the Knicks, right? If you didn't have these rules in place, where it was just a luxury tax thing like it was in the past, the Knicks will pay whatever the luxury tax is. Give me Durant, give me Giannis, give me all these guys. If there was nothing to stop me from trading for these guys, right, or signing these guys because I can afford to do it, then you will have teams taking advantage of the system. The NBA clearly values parity. They want to have different champions every year. They really want to make it like the NFL. I read an article today talking about the local TV deal and how damn near every single regional network or local TV network, they're all struggling. Every single one of them. We've seen MSG networks, the bankruptcy. There was 800 million. They dropped it down to 200 million. And now they're getting ready to be bought by the Yes Network. Honestly, because, you know, the cutting the cord and all these things is making things a lot different. So in that, you're having teams join regional, like joining networks with multiple other teams. You have a lot of that with Bally Sports. I think it's called Diamondback Sports now, or Bally's. It was Diamondbacks, now it's Bally's. Either way, it's like 13 teams all under that network, right? And that's what's happening now. So I think that's why the NFL ratings, it doesn't really vary. Like, people care about the NFL. Adam Silver, that's why he wants the small market teams in the finals, because he wants the league to be like the NFL, where it doesn't matter. It's the NBA finals. It don't care. It don't matter who's there, whether it's not the Lakers. And he's trying to shift away from that. And Dolan is kind of, you know, he's bothered by it because Dolan represents the old way of doing business in the NBA, right? Big market teams do what they do. All right. So those are the second apron rules, which makes deals even harder, even more difficult to do. You can't do aggregates, right? You can't get a third team involved, right? Not on that side. Also, another thing too, when you're in the second apron, right, and we do the 3-team deal, you cannot accept assets from different teams because that will go against the no salary aggregation rule. So you cannot aggregate salaries even if you go, let's say the Nets and the Knicks come together, the Knicks send Mikel, the Nets send the young boy Cam Thomas, right? And they put them together and send them out to KD. You can't do that. Can't do it. So 3-team deals, 2-team deals, all difficult to do with a second apron team. Hopefully this is registering. Let's see. Keith says, get the lights up. I would say, though, I have the feeling that the Knicks will let certain players walk to free up space. Yeah, but Yuri, do you see, I mean, what space you're talking about? I mean, they got $8 million. No one can free up that space. The only players that they could let walk realistically is PJ Tucker, right? He'll give them an additional 3.5, but now you have $11.5 million to sign 4 players. And you have to sign these 4 players. Now, you can get away with it like the Knicks did last month. I think you could spend like a month or 2 with just 12 players, but you cannot go beyond that period of time because you would get penalized from the NBA. You have to get 14 players. And then if you mess around and hard cap yourself at the second apron and now you're stuck there, you could face a lot more penalties. I'm not sure exactly what the penalties are, but these are the rules. Certain things you just cannot do. Now, the Boston Celtics, right? So let me show you guys, instead of just reading it out, let me show you guys a list of let me put the apron list back up. Where is it? No, that's the Knicks. So this is the apron list, right? So right now we have 3 teams that are second apron teams. The Phoenix Suns, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Boston Celtics. Okay? Those 3 teams, second apron teams. Phoenix Suns, everyone keeps talking about KD. It's very difficult to do a deal with the Phoenix Suns, especially if you're another apron team. Now, teams that are not apron teams would have an easier time, like the Spurs, because the Spurs, let's just for fun, let's put the Spurs up there to see what they could offer realistically in the KD trade, all right? So this is the Spurs, right? Devin Vassell, $27 million. This is beautiful right here, right? You could put together Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and maybe, hold on, let's write that down. That's what, how much? See if I get my math right. So $27 million. plus, we said Harrison Barnes, $19 million. That's $46 million. KD's making 53. So now we would have to add an additional $9 million in salary. If you add the Stephon Castle, because he's making that 9.5. That'll get you at the $55 million mark, which is something you wouldn't be able to do because the Suns can't take back more salary. So now what you would have to do is you would have to get a third team involved. So either Stephon Castle goes to the third team. No, you can't. No, I'm sorry. You can't do it. So no, you can't. You couldn't do that package because you have to get the money within 110%, but the Suns has to take back less money in the deal. So maybe you'd say, okay, I'll send Castle to the third team, right? So we could get assets. And then I'll trade Brahman. So then I'll trade Brahman, right, to the Suns. Because if you add that 4.6, that might work. That 4.6, I think, definitely would work. I'm adding it right now. 4.6. $50 million, that'll bring you within the 110% limit. So the $50 million that the Spurs have to send for KD, now the trade works. You take Vassell and send him, take Castle and send him to a third team so the third team could provide picks. So at least you'll get some picks back. Everyone's happy. Deal gets done. That's the only way to do a KD trade. Is he worth giving up Vassell, Barnes, Castle, and Sohan? I don't know. Well, you could. I said Brahman. Sorry, not Sohan. Brahman, Castle, Barnes, Vassell. How many of you guys are doing that trade? Crim's dad said trade Yuri. Yo, Crim's dad, stop. By the way, this is the guide to the 2025 offseason. Right now, I just went over all the apron stuff, all the exceptions. So if you just now joining the show, you can go back and, on the replay and catch the beginning because I think we did a great job explaining what the aprons are, what an exception is, what a cap hole is. We went through all this stuff. We know the rules, aggregates, all of that stuff, right? Now, if I could give the captain a big time salute to the captain, by the way. Let's see. So let me get back to PowerPoint. The reason why I want to salute the captain is because what Jalen Brunson has done, his move helps keep us under the second apron for a longer period of time. Brunson signed the 4-year, $156 deal in 25, starting this year, right? Even though technically the effects of the extension won't take place till next year. And I can show you. I can show you better than I can tell you, right? So I love research mode, man. So we're going to go to the Knicks. Right now, Brunson is getting paid $34 million. I'm going to show you why I say that. So when you pull up Jalen Brunson, right, and you look at his contract, let's say Jalen Brunson would have waited. Okay, let's say he would have waited, right, and to this season, to this off season, which wouldn't happen, but this is a hypothetical. Instead of getting paid that 30, you see this 34 million right here, he would have got paid the 26 million. But on the flip side, this contract would have been inflated because he probably would have got paid instead of 156. I could see Brunson getting 256. So you add $100 million. So it does help us save money. But I'm just saying, technically, for the Isaiah Hartenstein people, if we would have kept Hartenstein and Brunson would have waited till this offseason to re-sign, we would have more money this year to stay under the apron to do what we do, an additional $8 million. Not that it matters, but I'm just being technical. Okay, all right, cool. But on the flip side, if you would have did, I'm gonna show you the savings. So let's say, laptop about to die, don't want to lose the show, don't want to lose the stream. Okay, we good. We're not gonna lose the stream. Laptop is definitely about to die. Anyway, so let's do the numbers. Let's add it. So Brunson's getting the 4-year 156. Let's just add 100 to it. Screw it. Let's add 120. It's Jalen Brunson. He's an all-NBA second teamer. So let's say Brunson got the 4 years, 270. So we're going to do 270 divided by 4. So Brunson would have been getting paid on average $67 million. So, of course, usually they backload the contract. So he would be getting, Brunson would have got, if he wouldn't have took the friendly extension, Brunson would be getting paid anywhere between $55 to $60 million this year, which would have put us above approximately $25 million above where we are now. And if you really want to go back and look at it, that $25 million on top of this would make us a second apron team. Brunson saved us from getting into the second apron. Salute to the captain. Just so you can see rough numbers, why this $34 million could have easily been $53 million. Easily. Okay? So Brunson saved us. Let's see. Getting close to the end. How much time I got? Okay. And now, I want you guys to think about some trades and put it in the chat. All right? I want you guys to think about some trades and put it in the chat. What's the trade that you want the Knicks to make? And this line pretty much says, why staying under the second apron is important, right? You keep the MLE taxpayer, right? You get the ability to use cash and aggregates, right? All the stuff we talked about. That's why staying under the second apron is important. I think you guys get the picture, right? Now I want to know, what moves do you want to see the Knicks make? J-Tap, salute to you, J-Tap in the building. What trades, chat, what trades do y'all want the Knicks to make? All right, this is y'all moment to shine, channel members. I'm going to show you the move I want. All right, I'm going to show you the move I want. Let me make sure this is working. Hold on 2 seconds. So I want to show y'all the move I want. All right. I'm gonna actually write it down in real time if I can find my pen. Let me know the trades y'all want to make. Okay. Guess I won't be writing it down. I don't know what I did with my pen. Has to be here somewhere. Got too much stuff around. Oh, I got it. All right, bet. So I'm gonna show you the trade that I want. So my trade is the Jaren Jackson trade. Now I know some of you guys are not feeling Jaren Jackson. All right. I know some of you guys are not feeling Jaren Jackson. And you guys are going to see this update. Give it 2 seconds. So Bridges makes $25 million. Okay? Bridges makes $25 million. Hold on, let me just make sure you guys can see this. All right? Now, that's a great salary because he's also on the last year of his contract. So what happens is a lot of second apron teams would take a guy like Bridges and let him walk, or they could move other guys, right? And try to get, like there's a lot you can do with expiring contract. You can let them walk, or you can move other guys. Because like I said, the Minnesota Timberwolves are talking like they want to keep Randall. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I'm just telling you what they said. Why is this not syncing? This is weird. Why when I need stuff to work, it's not working? Okay, there you go. So Bridges makes $25 million, right? Now, the trade that I want, and I see your trade, Crims, out. I'm going to get to that for a second. Hopefully it's a real trade because I'm half looking. If not, I'm going to get mad. Just joking. I don't get mad over stuff like that. So the guy who I want is Jaren Jackson from the Grizzlies. I think he's the perfect fit to what we need. A real power forward. I don't want to trade OG for him because OG makes $38 million. No, OG will make $44 million because he has a trade kicker. Making OG and Anunoby a lot harder to do in this deal because Jaren Jackson makes $23 million. Okay? So, Bridges, 25. Jackson, 23 million. Okay? See if you guys can see this. Trying to be cool with the notepad. It's not really working the way I wanted to. Now, off rip, Bridges and Jackson, based on what we said, do you guys think we could do the share? I'm sorry, my handwriting's terrible. But you can see the 25 and the 23. Based off the rules that we read, would this deal be doable? The answer is yes. Why? Because it's within the 110%, right? 110% of 25 million is 2.5 million, okay? If you minus 2.5 from the 25, it's within the limit. So you would be able to do a JJ Jackson trade for Mikal. Now, what if Memphis is like, no, we want picks. We want this. I think the Knicks have some second round picks. Oh, you know where I got to go? I got to go Basketball Reference. I know we got the 50th pick in the draft. So we could trade that, get that up out of here. You know, we ain't going to use it. Well, we got a new coach. You never know. I don't know what they're going to do. Right? I'm just trying to help you understand when you see the move come, you know how it's done, why it's done. I know it's complicated, but it is what it is. Let's see. I know they got it here. Let's see. Draft rights. I don't think it's draft rights, though. Let's see. Let's see if I could go forward. Because I just don't remember what we had. You can't go forward. So this is all we got. Okay. I know we got the second round pick. I know we got our second round pick next year. This is just the draft rights. I can't remember the picks and stuff we had. I have it somewhere. I just don't remember all the picks we got. It's fine. It's fine. Hold on. Let's see. There's one more thing I can do. But whatever other picks we got, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they are they're under the aprons, so they have more flexibility to do things like we can aggregate contracts. So let's say they want Deuce McBride, we could throw Deuce in the deal, right? Then we could get a third team to match salaries with us because we have the ability to do aggregates, right? There's a couple of different things that we can do. I'm trying to find, you guys give me a second, where this list is. of all of the picks and stuff the Knicks have. I have it somewhere. I just listen. Don't expect me to remember anything, right? That's why I take notes, because there's just a lot going on in my brain. I'm not going to be able to remember everything. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it right now. Let's see. Crims, what was that pick? The trade? Trade Cat for Kessler and marketing? Crims, I could tell you was not paying attention, brother. I love you, brother, but I could tell you was not paying attention. So, for the record, Karl-Anthony Towns makes $53 million. All right? Remember that number. Towns makes $53 million. Okay? All right. So we're going to go to the Utah Jazz. All right? Towns makes 53. We're going to go to the Jazz. And we're going to see if we can make a deal work. All right? Now, for the record, the Utah Jazz, I think they're one of the teams that's under the 8. Let me see. Yeah, so they're barely under the salary cap. All right? So they have flexibility to do certain things that we don't. But even still, there's certain things we can't do with them because we would have to get a third team involved, right? So I'm just letting you know. Lauri Markkanen, let's see if he has a trade kicker, though. No, but if Lauri Markkanen has a trade kicker, I think he already used it. So based on what I'm seeing now, yeah, he doesn't have a trade. I figured that because I think he already got traded and he already used his trade kicker. So he wouldn't have a trade kicker. And I know Walker Kessler doesn't have a trade kicker. So remember the golden rule. So even though Markkanen makes 46, all right, and Kessler makes 4.78 million, we still would be taking back, and just to be technical, let me go to the calculator. So we know Towns making 53 point something, right? So 46, I'll round it up. 47 plus 5, 52. They'll be sending us $52 million in oh, shoot. Just cut my hand. Anyway, $52 million in salary coming to us, $53 million in salary going to them, and I don't think Towns has a trade kicker. Oh, we actually could do the deal. Crim's Dad, you got that one. Salute to Crim's Dad. He got that. My bad to myself. For some reason, I was thinking it was the other way. Okay. So, yeah, we could do that deal. It's within the 110% limit, right? Which would be 10% would be $5.3 million. So it works. That deal works. How you guys feel about that deal? OG marketing. My only thing with marketing, I feel like, is he better than Towns defensively? Is he better than Towns defensively? I don't know how he helps your defense. But this is a trade that could happen. This is a trade that can happen. Just so we could look at his stats. He's averaging 19 a game. He's only shooting 34% from 3, so he's not the shooter that Towns is. And you know what? I'm gonna give him a better due justice. Good trade though, Crims, that this works. Financially, it works. For some reason, I was thinking it wasn't going to work, but it does. 19. I don't know, guys. Y'all feeling this? I mean, yeah. I mean, his best year was 25. 25-8. He was most improved in the All-Star. Started because he was a replacement, though. He didn't make the team straight up. Last year, he was 23-8. But what's the decline? He's been declining, and his stats is declining. I I don't know. I don't know if I do this deal. It is interesting though. It is, but I'm just worried about his defense. I feel like he's going to get cooked. We talk about Towns. I mean, Lauri Markkanen. You going up against Indiana. You taking Lauri Markkanen over Siakam? I'm saying defensively, I don't know. Keep the trades coming. I'm gonna do a couple of more. Mitch and Deuce for Cam Johnson. Salute, the Knicks will be champs. Let's pull up that trade. So we go to the Nets. Now the Nets, like I said, they have the Thanos Infinity Stones. I mean, they got movable contracts. Everybody that's on the Nets can be gone. In fact, maybe they'll probably keep Cam Thomas, but I wouldn't be surprised if everybody on the Nets is up out of there. I really wouldn't be surprised. Hold on. What am I doing? All right, let me go to the Nets. So, for the record, he said, I'm sorry, man. My handwriting is terrible, man. J-Tap, that's why I'm not going to write on the screen. No. We just got to keep it to memory. And it's not working the way I wanted to. He said I got hieroglyphics. So Mitch is making $12 million. Deuce is making 4.3. Okay. So we'll round it up. So Mitch is making 13. Deuce is making 4. You put that together, $17 million. And he said that he want Cam Johnson from the Nets. So Cam Johnson is making $21 million. So listen, Knicks will be champs. You have to add more salary. Not sure when you came in. We explained the rules, right? You cannot take back more salary than you put out. So if we would be taking back $21 million and sending out $17 million to the Nets, the deal wouldn't work. Revoked, void. So you would have to add salary to that deal. Knicks will be champs. Crim's dad said no 2-for-1s. No, we could do 2-for-1s. We're a first apron team. Second apron team cannot do 2-for-1s. The Suns, the Cavs, the Celtics, they cannot do 2-for-1 deals. They are second apron teams. We could do it. We could send out multiple players, but once we do the trade, here's another thing you guys got to consider. Once you do the 2-for-1 or the 3-for-1, you're going to be hard capped at the second apron. All right? Yeah, Crim's dad, he got it. He did the right trade. Okay, so Knicks with your chance says Josh and Deuce. Let's just check on Josh's side. So we know Deuce is at 4. Josh is at 19. You put 19 with the 4. That's $23 million. You go back to the Brooklyn Nets. That will get the deal done. 10% of 23, 2.3. Yeah, that's good enough to get it done. So, yeah, you could do Josh Hart and Deuce for Cam Johnson. All right. How many of you guys agree with that deal? How many of you guys agree with that deal? Let's look at the player and Cam Johnson will be getting. Hold on. I'm going to put him on here because I don't like Sports Track. I don't like the way they display the stats. So Cam Johnson, we're going to pull him up. Cam Johnson, he averaged 18 points last season, only 4.3 boards. He did shoot 39% from 3, which is, I like that. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. I mean, he's definitely a prolific scorer. 100%. He's also, what is he, 6'9"? 6'8"? 6'8"? But you're going to be losing rebounding at Hart. You're going to be losing another playmaking guard, right? Are you guys, but you get height. Something that we do need. However, but even if you get height, is he a power forward? Does he help you with your ball handling issues? Knicks will be champs. I don't know if I'm feeling that trade. Yuri says Pacers might become a second apron team. Let's pull it up. I don't know about that Cam Johnson trade. Knicks will be champs. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's definitely a tough one. As far as the Pacers is concerned, okay, you know what? Let me do them a better justice. The real Eastern Conference champions, Indiana Pacers, not like the regular season champions, Cleveland Cavaliers. No, these guys are the real Eastern Conference champions. They're getting ready to get packed up and cooked, like I told y'all. Pacers getting up out of here. Can't defy the odds, and you can't defy history. No. The Pacers don't necessarily have to become a second apron team. They got 11 players on the contract. Tony Bryant has an option. They could get rid of that. Let's see. Miles Turner's. Let's look at what his cap hold is. $29 million. So I'm gonna tell you like this: if they can convince Miles Turner to come back for like this 27, about 20, if they could work out a deal with Miles Turner, it depends on what he'll resign for. I haven't read any reports on Miles Turner saying what he wants. Right. As far as the Knicks are concerned, could we do a sign and trade for Miles Turner? No. Why? Chat. Why couldn't the Knicks do a sign and trade for Miles Turner? I just want to see if you guys are paying attention. Let me know. Somebody answer that question. Why couldn't the Knicks do a sign and trade for Miles Turner? So Miles Turner was making $19 million, right? Let's see. His biggest salary was what? He had a rookie contract that he went to the $80 million deal. So if you can convince Miles Turner to take like a 130, a 4-year 130, right? Which would approximately put him, like under, like maybe if you could convince him to do like a 4-year, okay, let's keep it 130. And then you scale up. So the first year starts out at $27 million. Let's just say they can do that, Indiana. We'll go back. That'll just bring them to the first apron. They'll still have $12 million in space, right? To sign 2 players. They could do it. So no, the Pacers will not be an apron team if they can get Miles Turner to sign for this. You see that $27 million in space right there, Yuri? If this would be the first year of his deal, it'll just bring them to the first apron. Like it'll just bring them past they'll become a first apron team. They wouldn't be a second apron team. Hopefully you can see that. And they only need to sign 2 players with $12 million. We're trying to get 3 players with 8. They only would have to sign 2 for 12. And let's look at some of their cap holds. More than likely, that will go to Isaiah Jackson for sure, right? He will definitely probably get the $6 million. This qualifying offer, if they can't agree to a multi-year deal, I see the Pacers giving him that 6. I didn't talk about qualifying offers. I'm just trying to keep this simple. But by the way, just think about it like this: Isaiah Jackson, that let's say they don't agree to a long-term contract with Isaiah Johnson because he's a restricted free agent, he would automatically sign for the $6 million. If another team doesn't sign him for more, right? Maybe the Nets come and fleece him. I doubt it. I don't think Isaiah Jackson's worth that much. So more than likely, they'll bring him back. And they could bring Thomas Bryant back for the low, or they can sign somebody else because they'll still have the $5.7 million in taxpayer mid-level exception, which would make Indiana another team that can rival us in signing a quality free agent, right? All of this stuff is important. Pacers, right? Magic. This is our competition to sign. Hold on. Do I got it? Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. And by the way, keep the trades coming. I'll do a couple of more trades with you guys. Then we got to wrap up shortly because I gotta get moving, shaking, and popping. But hold on. Let me see if I could pull up. Let's see if I got it. Hold on. 2 seconds, y'all. Why? Oh, okay. I know what I can do. Hold on. I can go to the blog. Let's go to thisweekinsidethenix.com. By the way, while I'm taking this brief intermission, let's do this. Hold on. 2 seconds. I want to share with you guys the channel memberships. To all the guys that's listening to the chat right now, this is a members only live chat. I want to show you why you should join the channel. Not just so you could join this live chat. And yes, I will be doing more members only live chats. But the reason why is because you get a whole bevy of perks. Oh, by the way, that poll I put up, that survey I put up earlier is doing really good. Go vote on the survey. Which target would you bet will acquire? I want Jaren Jackson. But go vote on this. Kobe White, Durant. Let your voice be heard. But anyway, So all you gotta do is you hit that join button, man. Join the channel, right? Hopefully this loads up because yesterday it was giving me messing up my presentation. Hold on, let me reset. Try resetting it. I want to show you guys what you get when you join the channel. Hopefully this loads. I don't know why the internet is so slow. I'm on the Cat 7 Ethernet. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so we got two packages when you join the channel. Okay. The first is the starter Knicks fan. Second is the hardcore Knicks fan. I'm only going to talk about the starter Knicks fan for now because it's a great place to start. When you join the channel, right, you get access to the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. Salute to everybody you see in the building. Knicks will be champs. Crim's dad. Well, Crim's dad's not in there, but Knicks will be champs. Yuri, J-Tap, HIM. All these guys you see in the chat, these guys are also a part of the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. Even Keith. Keith is in there too. He's just not active, right? And basically, it's a Discord server where we talk the Knicks 24/7. It's a closed-off server, right? This is not a server that's a free-for-all, right? I like to keep it simple, you know, just deal with the people that support because we have great conversations. We never have no issues, right? Because these people are serious about talking Knicks basketball, right? So not only do we talk the Knicks, we talk NBA, we talk every sport, everything, 24/7. Chat, we up in there. Sometimes I'm responding to chats at 3 a.m. That's just where I thrive at. It is what it is. So definitely, if you are, you know, a subscriber of this channel, consider joining the channel, get in that Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. That's not the only thing you get. My memberships is not a channel donation, right? It's an actual membership where you actually get perks and access to more content, right? So you get the course, you get the cool badges. You see all these guys got different color-coded badges, which tells you how long they've been with the channel. Salute to all of the people that's been members for 3 months, 4 months, right? All the OG channel members and all the new channel members, right? Salute to everybody, right? As long as you're a member, it don't matter how long you've been there, right? As long as you're a member. Of course, the members only live chats, which what I got now, I will be doing more of these. I think the Wednesday shows probably from now on will probably be members only live chats, especially if I'm going in to talk about a topic, if I do a 10 keys, something like that. I also sometimes I would do members only shows, but I'm going to reserve that for when I get outside. Yes, I'm outside hooping. I will be going live, take you guys to Marine Park, take you guys to parks in Westchester, and we're going to see what these guys are working with, man. So I plan on doing a lot more content. Members only, just spontaneous lives of me outside, right? Also, members get priority reply to their comments. Getting a lot of comments. I drop content every day, videos, lives, surveys. I drop content all the time. Get a lot of comments. Become a member. You want me to read your comment and get back to you. Make sure you join the channel. I provide priority reply. I'm on top of it. Every time I see that badge, you know, I put the badge filter up, make sure I get to all my members because you guys support the channel. Another thing too, I got this video series called The Unfiltered Thought. I'm due for an unfiltered thought. I got like 3. I think my next unfiltered thought is going to be about Charles Oakley. Yeah, because I had some content that I didn't get a chance to share. I think I'm going to talk about Charles Oakley. Because he's been interesting. Salute to Charles Oakley. I love Oakley, right? I don't throw nobody under the bus, but I keep it real. Right. The last unfiltered thought I did was Jalen Brunson holds no weight. I love Captain, right? He holds no weight. That was the last joint we did, and it's just a series I do that I talk about things that's not necessarily for YouTube. Sometimes I crash out. I don't really crash out, but I just share things that's just not typically I would do in a regular video. Okay. Of course, the members get shouted out, and of course, the members get a discount to the merch. I didn't share the store today. Or shop.theobjectiveknicksfan.com or shop.thisweekinsidetheknicks.com. Go get yourself a Bodega Cat shirt. Go get yourself access to the Captain 11 mugs. Definitely check it out. The shop.thisweekinsidetheknicks.com. But members get discounts on all the merch and all the future merch that is to come. All right. Okay, cool. So I was in the midst of looking up something, right? I'm trying to think of it. I talked about the Pacers aprons. What was I in the midst of looking up? Let me see if you guys answered that question too, by the way. Did anybody answer why we couldn't do the Miles Turner trade? I'm trying to see if you guys were paying attention, man. If Hart goes to Brooklyn, he can still do the roommates pod. Nope, it's over. If Hart gets traded, no more roommates podcast. That's done. Crim's dad said, I like Cam. Hart needs to be on the bench if we keep him. Yeah, I think Hart's going to the bench. I'm not sure if you guys watched the podcast on Monday. I gave my 3 moves. I think that one of the things we need for sure is a ball handling 2 guard. All right. But go watch the podcast that I did on Monday. I gave you the 3 moves I think that we should make. They should force Brunson and Hart to put $10,000 in a swear jar. Oh, every time they say, well, you know what, Crim's dad? Or Crim's dad? Salute to Crims, by the way. They, I just said, too. But they're not professional, like, media people, right? So it is hard to listen to players doing media. Like, everybody wants to do media now. And not everybody is talented enough to do it, you know? They just don't got the chops. But I hear you. That is annoying. 2 beef patties with cheese for Ben Simmons. Isn't Ben Simmons a free agent? Oh, that's what I was doing. I was looking up the free agent list. See, I get back right. I get right back on track. Of course, I went to thisweekinsidethenix.com. I went back to the episode notes. I believe this was episode 2, right? Hold on. I think this was episode 1, though. I think episode 1, I was breaking down. No. That was episode 2. I was breaking down the free agent. Because these teams, right? Orlando, Indiana, all these first apron teams, they are our competition. They could sign some of these free agents that we want. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Right? So look, this is the best players that's available. Now, none of these guys we got access to, right? We're not getting none of these guys, right? We're just going to scroll past all of these guys. Now, Malik Beasley, let's say there's no market for Malik Beasley. Let's say no one's willing to give him the bag that he wants. Detroit doesn't want to pay him. Now, he's looking for the $5.7 million. How many of you guys would like to get Malik Beasley? But what if Indiana calls him? What if Orlando calls him? That's why this stuff is important. Those guys are our competition, okay? He's restricted. Now, Cam Thomas is getting paid. Kelly Oubre's another guy, right? Let's say the Sixers go, we want to go in a different direction. If the Indiana Pacers come, we got the 5.7, right? Orlando Magic come, we got the 5.7. Does he come to New York? I don't know. But these, you're going to, Brook Lopez, the Bucks say, hey, man, you too old. We want to go in a different direction. He can't get a $20 million deal. He's used to getting paid $23 million. What if he becomes a taxpayer mid-level exception guy? How could we compete with another team offering them money? I'm just showing you. Ty Jerome is getting paid, so that's a negative. Bobby Portis is going to get paid. That even though I would love to do a sign and trade for Bobby Portis, let's say he signs, if he's willing to sign for under $12 million, we could do a sign and trade for Bobby Portis. Who would you trade? Mitchell Robinson? I don't know. Just trying to give you examples. This kid right here, I would love to sign and trade for him. The only problem is I think he might be a $20 million player, which makes it interesting for Minnesota to see what they'll do. But if we could sign and trade to get this kid under the $12 million, I'll give up Mitch, right? I'll consider doing it. You know, because Minnesota could also trade Rudy Gobert too. I'm not saying they are, but this kid is somebody who I would strongly consider. He was making $16 million last year. But once again, he falls to the 5.7. Indiana. What's to stop him from going to Indiana? What's to stop him from going to Orlando, right? Or some of these other teams. Let me show you. This is why this apron stuff is important. So Indiana, if they do the Miles Turner deal, Denver Nuggets, they could offer the 5.7. Right? Denver Nuggets, they need a guard. Russell Westbrook is out of there. Right? They could, let me see. Let's see the second April space for Denver. Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh, hell yeah, the Denver Nuggets could go get a 5.7. So you're competing with these other teams. That's the point that I'm trying to say. Los Angeles Lakers is another team. Okay? Los Angeles Lakers is another team. Right? We talked about Orlando. OKC. Not really. But that's all I'm saying. That's what we're competing about. Okay? J-Tap says everyone's really respectful in the Discord. Facts. Because everybody that's in the Discord, they're all supporters of the channel. That's why I only deal with supporters of the channel. That's why when I want to talk and I don't have to get bogged down in the chat, I do the members only live because the members, salute to the members. Y'all the best members on the whole YouTube. It's very easy to do the show. No, the game is tomorrow. Knicks will be champs. I'll take Beasley. Yeah, but Knicks will be champs. There's a lot of competition. All of these teams right here. Clippers. Wait, hold on. As far as the Clippers got James Harden. The Clippers might mess around and be a second apron team too. I don't really know. Let's pull up the Clippers really quick, and we're gonna wrap up. If there's more trades you guys got, that you want to do, let me know. We'll look it up. As far as the Clippers is concerned, oh no. James Harden player option is here. So I don't know if he opts in. I haven't kept up with James Harden news. But if he opts in, that money's already accounted for. He opts in, he's a part of the active roster, 172. They got money. The Clippers, they could do some things, bro. They could do some, they could make whatever trade they want because they're not in the apron. In fact, hold on. I know they're over the salary cap. See, I'm mad because usually under this exception tab, this is my cheat code. It'll tell you which free agent exceptions they have access to. For some reason, it's not there yet, which is annoying as hell. It should be there, right? So you can understand what's going on. But it is what it is. Give it a couple of months. It'll be here. It'll tell you biannual, whatever you have access to. But they could do some things, man. Then they got a whole bunch of, like this Nicholas Batum right here. I don't know if he opts in, but he could opt out, Nicholas Batum, and they could give him a little bit more money. So they literally could return with the same team. Maybe I might try to move off of Eubanks if he opts in. But yeah, they could return with the same team. Clippers is going to be, they're going to be a problem. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in, man. This is the off-season guide to let you guys know what to expect. Hopefully you guys feel empowered. It's a lot of information, right? It's a lot of rules. I mean, it's just, I get it. I'm not going to say I don't understand it, but at the same time, bring back the good old days. So right now, our salary sits at $199.78 million, about $200 million, right? We're over the cap, over the luxury tax threshold, over the first apron threshold, but we're under the second apron. Of course, salute to the captain, Captain 11. His extension helps us dramatically because even though this year we would have been all right, but the following season we would have began to see $20 additional million just to go on to Jalen Brunson, right? So freeing up that $20 million allows us to talk to Mikal, to work, to see certain things, right? So we retain our flexibility. We can do aggregates. We can do 2-for-1s. We can trade for Giannis, all right? I had to slip that in there. Likely we won't be able to get Giannis, but we could trade for guys like that, or we could do simple trades, right? I'm curious to see what Leon Rose does. Offseason must focus on smart spending and strategic depth. So that's what Leon Rose has to work on, man. Great show. Salute to everybody, man. I appreciate all the members for participating. Even though y'all didn't answer the question why we couldn't trade for Miles Turner. The reason why we couldn't trade for Miles Turner is because he makes more than the $12 million mid-level exception. Okay. But I'm going to give a big time thanks to everybody watching. Hopefully you the new subscribers subscribe. We will be back this Friday for the Knicks call-up show. I already have that show scheduled. So that'll be this Friday at 10:45. I want to give a big time salute to the channel members as well. Knicks will be Chance 2526, channel member, one of the first mods, and Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. Salute to HRM, Discord server channel member, JTap, one of the first mods, channel member, Discord server. Salute to Crim's dad, who, even though he's number one on the gameology or the gamification, right? He's still, he's just not that good. He's just not that good. Nah, I'm just messing with Crim's dad is the best. Salute to you. Salute to you, my man Yuri coming through, said he understand the aprons, right? But you didn't give us a trade. And you also said the Pacers might become a second apron team. No, they will not be a second apron team. They will be a first apron team, because I don't think Miles Turner will sign more than $27 million. In terms of that first year, I don't foresee Turner getting more money than that. I think that they can settle, especially going to the finals. I think he'll work with those guys. Salute to everybody that was in the building, man. I do appreciate you guys. Keith Watkins from the ATL. How could I forget Keith Watkins, man? Salute to you, Keith. Miss your calls on the call-up show, Keith. I'm curious to know, Keith, how you feel about the Coach Tibbs firing, right? I'm curious to know how you feel. And, of course, Beeman Boys and JJP NYC, who was in here early. That's all I got for you guys tonight, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. If you have questions, let me know. Leave a comment. Also, you could go back and watch the show again, right? That's why I'm trying to keep it not too long. And you guys can check it out, see what you might have missed. But we pretty much broke down everything. This is the guide to the off season, all right? And I want to give a big time thanks to everyone. See you guys on Friday. And until next time, gotta get my crowd. Hold on, let's get the crowd going. Let's go Knicks. And trade for Jaren Jackson.